Hey everyone. Today, we need to talk about Niles Valentine. Yes, the Niles. A guy is out here on his first trip to Ghana, and somehow he's found himself agreeing to get married. Like, what? Niles? What are you doing, man? Before we dive in, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Trust me, you'll want to stick around for this one because I'm convinced Niles is headed straight for disaster. Alright. So let's rewind a little. When we first met Niles, he had one goal for this trip: get engaged and perform the knocking ceremony. Seems reasonable, right? In his confessionals, he even said he wanted to use this time to really get to know Matilda and T better. Smart move, Niles. Relationships are complicated, and jumping into marriage is a huge decision. Plus, he mentioned wanting to save up enough money to finance the wedding Matilda deserves. Again, super valid. But here's where things start to unravel. Not long after arriving in Ghana, Niles learns that his original plan isn't going to cut it. Matilda and her family, specifically Mr. Huck, who we'll get into later, make it clear that he's expected to get married during this trip. Oh yeah, there's also a bride price of $400. Niles, bless his heart, only has $100 to his name after withdrawing cash. If that's not a sign from the universe to slow down, I don't know what is. Okay, let's break this down because there are so many red flags here that it feels like a carnival. Now, I know honesty isn't always easy, especially for someone like Niles, who's navigating the world through the lens of autism. He's admitted that he masks certain parts of himself, which I completely understand, but masking the fact that he's lost his job, that he's not financially stable, and that he wasn't planning on getting married this soon. Yikes. These are major things Matilda deserves to know. Relationships are built on trust, and without it, you're building a house of cards that's bound to collapse. Honestly, I feel for Matilda here. She's making plans based on incomplete information. And for Niles, avoiding these tough conversations only makes things worse in the long run. Truth is going to come out eventually, and it's always better if it comes from you instead of being exposed in a dramatic showdown. If Niles and Matilda are going to make it, he needs to start being upfront like yesterday. Let's talk about Mr. Huck for a second, because this guy, Woo, is essentially the puppet master pulling the strings here. From changing the plans to insisting that Niles needs to get married now, the pressure is unreal. And Matilda, I get that she wants to make her family happy, but marriage isn't something you can or should rush. It's like Niles is being cornered into making a life-changing decision without having the time or resources to process what he's doing. This level of manipulation is a huge red flag, and honestly, it's exhausting to watch. Let's not forget that Niles actually started with a pretty solid plan. The idea was to get engaged during this trip, perform the knocking ceremony, and return later for the wedding, when he was in a better place financially. He wanted to make sure the timing and the relationship was right. Sounds reasonable, right? So why the sudden shift? After talking to Mr. Huck, everything changed. Now Niles is scrambling to meet expectations that are way beyond his means. Here's the kicker. Even if he somehow manages to scrape together the $400 bride price, what about the wedding expenses? What about the long-term implications of rushing into a marriage without addressing these underlying issues? In my opinion, sticking to the original plan would have given both Niles and Matilda the time they need to really think this through. Would have allowed Matilda to see that Niles is serious about their relationship while giving Niles the breathing room to make decisions that align with his own goals and values. Let's zoom out for a second. Beyond the financial struggles and family pressure, there's a bigger question here. Are Niles and Matilda even compatible? Think about it. They've already hit multiple roadblocks, from communication breakdowns to mismatched expectations. Niles wants to take things slow and make sure everything is right. Matilda, on the other hand, seems more focused on meeting her family's expectations. Those are two very different mindsets, and if they don't address this now, it's only going to get worse down the line. Right, here's where I'm laying it all on the table. Based on everything we've seen so far, I'm convinced that Niles is heading straight for disaster if he goes through with this wedding. He's prioritizing Matilda's happiness to the point where he's neglecting his own. And while that might seem noble in the short term, it's a recipe for resentment and regret in the long run. Here's my prediction. If Niles goes through with this marriage now, it's going to lead to a lot of heartache for both of them. They need time apart to reevaluate their goals, communicate more openly, and figure out if they're truly compatible. Because right now, this isn't looking like a happily ever after. So, what do you all think? Am I being too harsh on Niles and Matilda, or do you agree that this is a disaster waiting to happen? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one, and I can't wait to hear what you have to say. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your fellow 90 Day Fiancé fans. Until next time, stay tuned for more drama, more tea, and more 90 Day Fiancé chaos right here. Bye, everyone.